heist in Switzerland with all those banks and gold reserves? There was a heist? If this sentence, this word was correct, it would have made headlines. Well, I'm a coffee drinker, so I'm going to enjoy analyzing today's report. You can be a coffee drinker, water drinker, tea drinker, whatever it is, you are absolutely welcome to join us. Let's start assessing a task 1 report today. And the rubric says, the tables below give information about sales of Fairtrade labeled coffee and bananas in 1999 and 2004 in 5 European countries. All right, so I have tables. It's more than one, so there are 2, maybe 3. I know already there are 2. And we're talking about coffees and bananas. There is an asterisk here. I will talk about this later. 1999 and 2004 are 2 isolated years. And my grammatical tense will be past simple tense, because I'm going to talk about 2 individual years. I don't have any other information. I don't have any information what happened between the years, and I don't know what happens since then until now or happened before 1999. And I'm limited to 5 European countries. It's not about world, it's not about the Middle East or Far East or Southeast Asia, Africa, Northern America. No, we know it's not about all Europe even. It's only focused on 5 European countries. So let's see. This is the visual. The title is Sales of Fairtrade Label Coffee and Bananas 1999 and 2004. I have 2 columns, one for 1999 and one for 2004. The value is presented in millions of euros. So 1.5 means 1.5 million euros. We have 1 table for coffee and 1 table for bananas. Now, you can divide your strategy like this. You can devote 1 paragraph for coffee and 1 paragraph for banana. It's very good, correct. That's very natural. If you want to make it a little bit harder for yourself, but you have to have better control, you can focus, for instance, on 1999 and compare coffee and banana. That is not very logical. Instead, I would say maybe you could compare the countries in 1999 in 1 paragraph and analyze how they moved around. Maybe for coffee, for instance, UK was top in coffee, but was the second in bananas. So that is also rather difficult. Why bother? Why do we want to make our job harder? But that's a legitimate strategy. Sometimes it works. For some visuals, it's also a way to go. You label each paragraph based on the year. There is a even harder, more difficult way is just to focus on ranking and then analyze the ranking. I'm not going to suggest that for this particular visual either, because we really don't want to make our lives a lot harder. It's best to just be thematic. Thematic means to have a theme. So the theme of the first paragraph would be coffee, and the theme of the second paragraph would be bananas. Now, this visual has a footnote, and it basically gives us the definition of fair trade. Fair trade means a category of products for which farmers from developing countries have been paid an officially agreed fair price. So officially means government, of course, supervised, and they receive the for whatever farm products they produce, they receive a compensation. They receive money for that. Now, one thing I want to talk about is many, and I have seen it multiple times, so hear me out. Listen very carefully. I have seen multiple times candidates ignore the footnotes. They think like a book, like magazines, I don't know, like a website. When you have a footnote, you can ignore it. You can just, you don't have to read it. It's just extra information. And they look at it and they think that that's just extra information. It's extra. You don't need to pay attention to it. From the IELTS's perspective, before I tell you this, from the IELTS's perspective, this footnote is part of the visual. And yes, IELTS is a standard test. This is taken from some standard sources, and there's a footnote there. They kept it. By doing this, they're doing a very good practice. And the practice is if some visual needs more explanation, it is given. This illustration or this explanation was given on this visual for the purpose of educating the reader. And the reader can be somebody from England or somebody from Thailand. It doesn't matter. IELTS puts this in the visual. Now hear me. This is part of the visual. It is not extra information. We must not ignore the footnotes. IELTS gives you as part of the visual. So whatever you see, we report whatever we see, and this is something we can see. So this has to be reflected on our reports every time. When you see footnotes on a visual, make sure in your report you reflect on that, you paraphrase it, you mention it, you use the same message but in different words, but you mention that in your report because this is also part of the visual. It's not extra information. It's not separate. IELTS doesn't want to help you. It's not hint. It's not somebody telling you that, hey, when you write, make sure you follow this and that. It's not. This is a test. And this is part of the question that we must address. On that note, let's look at the candidate's response. Given are two tables comparing the amount of money that the UK, Switzerland, Denmark, Belgium, and Sweden had paid. I don't like past perfect. This is a bad error. Past perfect means they paid before the years 1999 and 2004. We don't have that information. Paid, simple past, forget this. Paid for trading coffee and bananas in 1999 and 2004, like two isolated years, correct. All right, this is only one sentence. I don't like that. The introduction is only one sentence. It is very good. It encompasses, meaning it covers all the elements I wanted to see. I can see the type of the chart. I can see what it shows, also the time frame, the focus, the countries. The focus is on the 5 countries and also in these 2 years. But I wanted to maybe see another sentence, something significant, something like the highest number is 47 million. That is for the sales of bananas for Switzerland. in 2004. That's the highest one. Or you can say in all rows, we had an increase, while Sweden and Denmark were the only countries that experienced a decline. You see 1.8 to 1 and 2 to 0.9. Just one significant point, but the significant point in the introduction should be about the entire visual. Now let's focus on the first body paragraph. It is evident from the information supplied, I like this grammar, the information which is supplied here, that the extent of money was paid for coffee. I'm not past perfect is a bad decision. It changes the message. It changes the message. Was increased in all countries listed in 2004. Increased, 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 increased. So I'm assuming that this paragraph is going to focus on coffee. One interesting fact highlighted by the figures is that I like this. I mean, I love the control over the grammar. It's just a bad decision that we have seen 2 instances of past perfect. It's not the writer doesn't know how to use grammar. It's just the decision is not accurate for this particular visual. Is that the UK saw a staggering increase. Forget, not increased, increase. This is a noun. A staggering increase from 1.5 million euros in 1999 to 20 million euros in 2004 in terms of trading coffee. Good. That is correct. The UK, 1.5 to 20, 1999, 2004. Good. Even though Switzerland stood as the biggest coffee trader among those countries in 1999, however, it's rather overused. We already have even though. Punctuation is correct, but I wouldn't use however here. It took the second place with double the amount of 1999 in 2004. Yes, Switzerland doubled the amount. Switzerland was the biggest, correct? 3 million euros on top. That's the first. Switzerland was the first, but here it became the second to the UK. And despite doubling its sales, understood. But the messages here, this sentence is too complex. There are it is overly complicated, and the sentences are mixed and merged, collapsed into each other. It's a bit hard to get the correct message out. In such cases, it's always best to be clear. Being clear gives us a higher score than trying to show off and pretend something that you are actually not. Again, I need to say the writer is knowledgeable. The writer knows grammar. The problem is the decisions on using grammar and controlling grammar or grammatical structures over larger sentences is not always accurate. That's a shame. That's a shame. Instead of this, we can say, despite doubling its sales, Switzerland went down from its first place in 1999 to the second place after the UK in 2004. That is a more manageable structure, and we can control the grammar better that way. Denmark, Belgium, and Sweden had the lowest amount of trading coffee in both years with 1.8, 1, I need another comma after 1, or before and, doesn't matter. and 0.8 million euros in 1999, and 2, 1.7, and 1, another comma here, million euros in 2004, respectively. We devoted the majority of the paragraph, which is about coffee, to the two top players, UK and Switzerland. And we only mentioned one sentence for the remaining countries, which is a good practice, which is indeed a good practice, because you can see the changes here, even the numbers are not that high, the changes are not that significant. So this is what we can do. You don't have to report every single data, every single country and their changes. It's very logical. I understand the logic. The paragraph is about coffee. We talked about the two top players and what happened to them. And there were other players. And here are the numbers. That's a good practice. Moving on to the, to the third body paragraph, which I assume is going to be about bananas. With regard to bananas, Switzerland had the highest level, highest in Switzerland with all those banks and gold reserves. There was a highest. If this sentence, this word was correct, it would have made headlines. Like, there is a heist in Switzerland. Every rich person, every multimillionaire, every government even would be surprised, and they would pick up the phone and call Switzerland and their banks to check if their savings are intact. Thank goodness it's not the case. It's a simple vocabulary mistake, so it's highest level in paying for bananas in both years in question, with 15 million euros in 1999 and 47 million euros in 2004. Switzerland had the highest level. Yes, absolutely, by far, in both years. It is worth noting, I like this structure, that the amount of money was spent in I don't know, I don't feel good about this one. Let's see. The amount of money was spent in trading bananas in Switzerland, the UK, comma, and Belgium in 2004 was more than, there's a missing element here. The amount of money which was spent in trading bananas in Switzerland, the UK, comma, and Belgium in 2004 was more than threefold of those, or of that, in 1999, from 15.1 and 0.6 million euros to 47, 5.5 and 4 million euros respectively. So let's see. So there are three countries. In Switzerland is first, then the UK, and then Belgium in 2004 was more than 3 times their numbers in 1999. So first Switzerland, then UK, then Belgium. Let's check it. Let's check all of them. Switzerland, UK, Belgium. 3 times, more than 3 times, more than 3 times. Absolutely correct. And then we also have the exact data, respectively. Correct. In stark contrast, I like the structure. However, Sweden and Denmark saw a decrease in trading bananas from 1.8 and 2 million euros in 1999 to 1 and 0.9 million euros in 2004. All right. Yes, there was, these two countries experienced a decline in their sales of Fairtrade label coffee. I don't see any mention of the footnote. We don't describe what Fairtrade labeled coffee is. That is one missing element. 249 words. Let's look at the band descriptors. Okay. So, as for task achievement, the requirements of the task, all of them were addressed, and they were highlighted. Now, the issues. We only adequately highlight key features, meaning we forgot to mention the footnote. We didn't talk about that this type of trade is fair trade labeled sales. The other thing, we used bad grammar, and those bad grammatical structures had a certain meaning. We didn't have any information prior to 1999. We shouldn't have used past perfect, past simple for this specific year. Also inadequate, pardon me, inadequate because we again didn't talk about the footnote. We totally ignored footnotes as if it's not there. And then the introduction was just one sentence. We didn't have an overview. We needed one sentence to tell us that when you look at the whole picture, both tables inside it and the footnotes, what stands out? It might be the most significant change, the highest number, the lowest number, the constant plateau of something, or something that has never changed throughout. Whatever it is, it wasn't there. If we forget to write an overview, fine. Coherence and cohesion, I didn't see issues with referencing. Paragraphs had a focus, correct? Doesn't get anything further than 7 because the introduction needed at least one more sentence. The issue was in a couple of sentences, because of grammar mistakes, the transition between sentences was faulty. This one. So yes, we had very good connectors, discourse markers, but it doesn't matter. All it takes is that in other sentences, when you go from one sentence to another, there's an issue. Vocabulary was fine. It wasn't natural. The word heist, you remember, which was highest. I understood that doesn't affect communication, but it's not helping either. So it stays at 6. And grammar was really to blame. We had advanced grammatical structures. There were attempts to use them, but it was not always helpful. And we had many grammar errors, punctuation mistakes, and bad grammar structures, bad decisions. The writer is knowledgeable, but the decision to choose which grammar was not there. The decision was not a correct decision for this particular task. And yes, errors did affect my understanding, because there is a difference in a message you receive from a past perfect tense than a normal past simple tense. All in all, it is sad to see that such a good report gets 5.5. But let it be something for us to learn. We must not ignore anything IELTS gives us at the real test, even footnotes, side notes. Whatever IELTS gives us is not to help us, is there for us to show that, yes, I know it's a test. It's not a mock test. It's not practice test. It's not something that you say, oh, okay, let's just make some mistakes. It's a real test. And also, make sure you use correct grammar, because different grammar gives different messages. That's fact. And on those two important notes, I wish you have a lovely day with your future representatives. Make sure they do their jobs very well. May it be an essay or another report like this. And if you wish to see a 7+ sample of this exact topic, look at the description below. Take care.